my windshield wipers are broken, so my driving is a bit hazardous right now. I don't have any reception here, so part of the reason why I'm making the video now is a record, just in case Chas v'Shalom, it needs to be there, and hopefully it won't need. And we pray to God, Yiratzim U'Fanecha, Shtolicheinu Shalom, Tzatzideinu Shalom, Shavyeinu L'Chais Chapseinu L'Chaim V'Simcha Shalom, Shavyeinu L'Shalom, Shatzileinu B'Klaf K'Loy V'Oyer V'Listim V'Chais V'Oyer V'Kedem V'Klaf V'Oyer V'Rabbis V'Oyer V'Oyer Shlach Baruch V'Atzlach V'Chol Ma'asidenu Tzidon Lav L'Chid V'Chaz Rachman V'Nech V'Nech V'Olay V'Simcha V'Shmet V'Tachnenim Et V'Shmet 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 Baruch Shemed V'Kilo Amen Yotzim V'Nech V'Nech V'Yoli Yaakov V'Lach V'Dark V'Yoli V'Lach V'Yoli Yaakov Asher Machadei Elohim Zev Yikush Shem V'Makom V'Machanayim Yaakov V'Lach V'Dark V'Yoli V'Lach Elohim V'Yoli Yaakov Asher Machadei Elohim Zev Yikush Shem V'Makom V'Machanayim Yaakov V'Lach V'Dark V'Yoli V'Lach Elohim Yaakov Asher Machadei Elohim Zev Yikush Shem V'Makom V'Machanayim Ki Malach Av Yitzav Elach L'Shmorcha B'Chol D'Rachecha. Alright, I'm going to make another video about this documentary. I'm only, I'm careful not to watch it before bed because I know it'll be a psychological trigger. I know it'll make me anxious and I'll have a hard time sleeping, and I can't afford that. This morning I watched a little bit of it, what do you say? And you know what, I might just go to Rockland Psych and not go to the Bronx today. I'm decided what to do. Alright. That really helped. Alright. So, the part that I just watched, I'm watching these 5-10 minute snippets here and there, and then I have time to ruminate over it. I'm not going to watch it now because of the hazardous conditions of driving. I think I'll go to the Bronx first. Still, despite, but I won't take the other bridge. Although I might stop at there's a little rest stop here, Route 6, just when you get in the Palisades bookstore. Maybe I'll stop there and just run the windshield wiper again. So, in any event, they went back to one of the earlier figures in the film, and they were talking about, maybe I'll turn this off a little clearer. They were talking about custody battle. And so this woman from Footsteps, who left, one stereotype and just went into another, really. She's not really expressing her individualism. You could see this, but she's really just a bigot who's, expressing her hatred against a traditional minority and a traditional culture, and I don't understand why, we listen to now, if a 4-year-old kid wants to wear a costume of Moana, that's cultural appropriation, and that's a microaggression, but this hate film, this bigoted hate film propaganda, most likely funded by Zionists and George Soros and communists and Democrats and so forth. I mean, you see even like the microaggression of, pointing out that the Hasidim voted for Trump because we care about this country and we're patriotic Americans, not like the Zionists who have dual loyalties. And yet, they don't even have dual loyalties. I mean, the Zionists, one thing, they have dual loyalties. The communists have hatred for this country. At least the Zionists love America. All right, we're gonna finish. I gotta figure out what to do with this. All right. rain calmed down a little bit, so should be able to at least see a little bit more. But anyway, because there are a lot of Zionists who support Donald Trump, but at least they love America and Israel. They at least love two countries. The communists and the Democrats, they hate all countries, and they want to remove all of the barriers. It's the same reason why in Bloomingburg they were trying to destroy the village, because they want to get rid of federalism. They want to get rid of, self-government. They want to get rid of, borders. They want to just create a, what's going on here? I was hoping this guy would pass me from the right, and then, oh my goodness, now I'm stuck behind this truck that's making more. Alright, so anyway, we still have a record what's going on here, just in case. Alright, maybe, I don't want to be stuck behind this guy, but I'll let these people pass me, and then maybe, now I'm really going to mess myself up with this. Why does he have his lights on? You can't drive in the rain with no lights on. It's such a hazard. People talk about using the phone and stuff and texting while driving. What about turning on your lights, you idiot? Turn on your lights. So anyway, I'm gonna just stay behind this guy, because I don't know what else to do. I hope he gets a ticket for not having his lights on. It's really dangerous. So anyway, what did they say in this film, which was so shocking? I'm gonna put the hazards on, because I'm actually driving hazardous, and whatever. I just want everyone to pass me. I just want an empty highway to drive on. How am I going to get to the Bronx like this? Going on the Tappan Zee. Damn it. Alright. So anyway, what are these people doing? Alright, so this sick bigot from the Zionist communist organization Footsteps, George Soros funded, most likely. I know I mentioned George Soros. That means they're gonna block me from getting advertisements on this. And I'm calling out for freedom. I'm calling out for love. I'm calling out for tolerance and respect. And these people are trying to undermine everything America was built on. And that's why it's time for Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, and freedom-loving atheists and agnostics to join together against this attempt to undermine freedom, everything that this country was built on. I mean, they hate this country. The people who are fighting against this country, the George Soros people, I mean, they hate Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, and they want to replace these great people with evil people like Woodrow Wilson and FDR and Barack Obama and Jimmy Carter and Bill Clinton. And it's just like mind-boggling, but we need someone like a Herbert Hoover, which Trump isn't really doing a good job. Not Herbert Hoover. Herbert was the bad one. Who's the good one? Calvin Coolidge. That's the good one, right? Calvin Coolidge, Silent Cal. We don't need a Herbert Hoover. That's the problem. Trump is being Herbert Hoover, and he should be more like a Calvin Coolidge, which is, I think, what Ted Cruz would have been. But in any event, the Democrats should love Trump because he stands for all the same liberal ideology that they stand for. He's really, really a Democrat in his heart. But he loves his country. He's trying his best. He needs to learn a little bit more. Bob Corker is right that, certain things are supposed to be left to professionals, but I don't think Bob Corker is a professional either. I think Trump is right to drain the swamp. he has a lot of stuff to learn. But I think he's doing a good job. I think he's the right man at the right time, and it's a blessing that we have him, and he's a godsend. But what they said in this film was like, oh, the Hasidim, they learn how to use the American laws to their advantage. What? Meaning, when we're following the laws, you somehow make it that we're not following the laws. Like this whole story with the Eruv. They go with the police, they do everything right, and then they come up with some excuse, the Democrats, to fight against the Eruv. Or the Rhino Republicans, the phony Republicans, people like Chris Day and Ed Day, who are not real Republicans. They don't stand for libertarian values, they stand for progressivism. Which is not progressive. Progressivism is not progressive. It's just an ism that's an ironic title. I was talking to my wife about it. Like certain things that, like for example, England, brought better things to cultures in other countries, and brought a lot of Judeo-Christian values even into other faiths and things like that. And then she was like, "Oh, but I thought you're against progressivism." I was like, "No, I'm against progressivism, but I'm not against progress. I'm not, But the real progress is, the 7 laws of Noah for sure. Is progress for people who think it's okay to kill widows, but the thing is, for Christians and Muslims who have a higher standard of morality, it's not. Someone asked me at work yesterday, he said, what should he do? His wife left him, and he wants, and she doesn't care about getting divorced. He's not Jewish, and he wants to know, could he have a new girlfriend? I was like, well, by the letter of the law you can, but he said his mother said it's immoral. I said, she's right. You should listen to your mother, even though by the letter of the law you're allowed to do something, doesn't mean you should do something. It doesn't mean it's right or it's moral, it's respectful. And there's a reason why, it's offensive to people to hear something like that, because it's wrong. Because halacha is not about morality. It's a basis. There are a lot of things that are allowed by halacha that the rabbis of the Talmud said we don't do because it's wrong, because it's destructive to society. Even though it's permitted, doesn't mean that it's right, moral, or good. And that's a big answer to a lot of things. People ask about the Talmud. Oh, the Talmud says this or that, and the answer is, in that sense, it's talking about, in a legal sense, not talking in a moral sense. There are other passages, like our sages say, the Torah is poor in one area and rich in another. That you can't take things out of context. It's meaning the problem of taking things out of context. So someone addressed me overnight, and they said, when they took this name, One of Us, it was because in the movie he says, Bis Fin Inzera, which they translate on the bottom as One of Us. Well, Fin Inzera really translated as from ours, not one of us, not Eins von Ins would be one of us. Nobody says Eins von Ins. We say Fin Inzera. So the fact that they even translated as one of us is also, it's a microaggression, and it's not fair. They say they can use the left. They can use these terms, microaggressions, and this, blah blah blah, and by them it's okay, but they're doing all these things. They're doing cultural appropriation, how they're attacking the NFL, and I'm not a sports fan, and I leave that alone because I don't care about sports, and I really don't like sports. But I'm not going to go and attack sports because I recognize and I celebrate that sports are valuable part of American culture. In fact, personally, even though I'm not that interested in baseball, the culture of baseball is a great all-American culture that the celebrity of, especially, in the old days, the 30s, 40s, 50s, baseball, that's something that I find appealing. To read about that culture, to study about it, even though it's not something I'm interested in. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not a sports fan. I'm not interested in playing sports or watching sports, but I have a certain warmth in my heart for baseball. I guess but I'm sure, I guess that's how, I don't know. I mean, I really don't care that much about it, but like football I never really liked. I remember in school, a lot of the guys liked to play football. I wasn't interested in sports. The only sport that I tried to play a little bit was golf, because everyone was like, oh, you have to have a sport. I'm so happy my kids, are in Hasidic schools where they don't have to put up with this nonsense. And like both my wife and I are both like, we're not sports people. I'm a movie person. My wife's a music person and a movie person. And I can appreciate music. I can appreciate, it's interesting how, though in the Hasidic world, though, baseball is still kind of like unofficially kosher. Like it's kind of okay for Bachrim to like follow sports scores like in an unofficial way, like baseball scores and stuff like that. Like there is a certain like tolerance of it, and it's known like this one Rav, his two brothers are big rebbes, and we know who we're talking about, and like and he's really a balabas, but they gave him, after his father passed away, a title of such and such a Rav, and I guess he was always kind of the Rav of the Besmedrash there, whatever. But he, it's well known, like he has season tickets to the Yankees, and it's like, it's the same thing, what I remember, in high school, whatever. Like Rabbi Weinberger, he was big into the Yankees, and I said something like, I'm a Mets fan because Minagav V'Seinu B'Yadeinu. My father went and painted my room blue and orange, trying to get me to be a Mets fan, and like, it was always this idea in my family, like, oh, the Yankees, they're kind of arrogant, and snooty, and like, the Mets, that were like, it's Hamish, it's like, all right, so they lose, but they're still our team, because we're from Queens. I was like, Rabbi Weinberger, you're from Queens, what? Why are you rooting for a Bronx team, But he's like, oh, Yitzchak Zev, you're a Mets fan? I used to have so much respect for you. It was all in good fun, but like they say, Rav Scheinberg's friend of Rach, who I remember meeting, they said, he always had a little bit of a smile when he heard that the Yankees won the World Series or something, And then he said he made a special scene once when, like, at a certain point in his life, he didn't care, he didn't have that feeling anymore, he didn't care anymore about the Yankees. But, that shows, that there's, am I gonna, am I gonna reach a certain level? Am I gonna get that old? Where if I hear about King Kong or I hear about the creature from Black Lagoon, I'm not gonna have a certain feeling. I don't know. It is what it is. So, but it's just like, it's such clear propaganda. Baruch Hashem cleared up a little bit. I don't need the windshield wipers now. So I'll head into the Bronx. We'll see, and then I have to go back. I'll take off. I'll clock out, I guess. We'll see, whatever. I don't know. Maybe a lunch break. Take a few lunch breaks. So that's just how it is. That's situation. So anyway, I don't. This movie, it's just like, they're like attacking the Hasidim for following American law. It's a damned you if you do and damned if you don't. It's a catch-22. I once heard a Hasidic Yid, a real Satmar Yid, use the term catch-22, and I was like, I don't think he ever read, what was it, William Conrad? I remember when I was a kid, I picked up that book in the library, and my mom said this is not appropriate for your age, and she complained to the librarian. That was in the school library, and she's like, this is not appropriate. Do parents think like that these days? Do, like, public school parents? They're so concerned about, teaching their kids about transgender. Do they show kids, like, Glenn or Glenda now? Like, I mean, what's going on? I don't know. It's, Lugosi and Glenn or Glenda, that's a riot. How, like, he had no idea what he was making a movie about. Ed Wood just gave him a script to read, and he read it the damn best he could. Oh, Bela Lugosi Jr. is so pissed off about that. I'm sorry for my language. I saw a video where they're interviewing Bela Lugosi Jr. and he was so angry, like what Ed Wood did to his father, how he took advantage of him, but he was giving him work. Like, who else was giving Bela Lugosi work? In the 50s, he was in Vampire Over London. That was in England, and like, he had all these interviews. He just came back from England, and he was in Bela Lugosi Meets a Brooklyn Gorilla, which was never supposed to be made, and he was in a few Ed Wood movies, and he was in not the Unearthly, what's it called? It's a movie with John Carradine, and I think it also had the Black Sleep. Is that what it was called? I saw it once. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. That is a rare film. That's one of Bela Lugosi's last films. He was only in it very briefly. Bride of the Monster was great. I don't know. My opinion. But what do I know? I'm rambling on for 22 minutes. What else do people want to talk about? I mean, it just goes back time and time again to what I've been saying from the beginning. The people who attack the Hasidic communities, their real goal is to attack all religion, to attack religious freedom, and to attack liberty in general. Even if you're not religious, do you believe in liberty? If you're an atheist libertarian like Penn Jillette, I mean, all of these people should be united against this madness that's trying to take away our liberties. Meaning, these same people who attack the Hasidic community, these people who run Footsteps and all these groups and the Rural Community Coalition, just like they want to close our synagogues, they want to close your churches. It's really what it comes down to. They want to take away 501c3 exemptions. They want to really just destroy everything America was built on, because America was built on, really, from what they called the Black Robe Brigade. Meaning, where did this idea of liberty come from? Was people sitting in church and listening to sermons from pastors who taught them the biblical ideas of liberty. Proclaim liberty throughout the land is what it says in Leviticus. Well, thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I want to get over into this lane because it's just too much. Baruch Hashem, now I have reception. I can go back listening to Glenn Beck. I made it, thank God. I'm on the Tappan Zee Bridge, and there's no more rain. Remember the show The Critic with John Lovitz? It was a cartoon. It was on ABC and it was on Fox. And there's this one episode where he goes out on a date with the old hairdresser, and it's an old Jewish lady, Doris, I think her name was. So then he says, if someone asks you so-and-so, and then she says, if someone asks you, tell them I'll tell them you're a troll I found under the Tappan Zee Bridge. So I'm a little nervous to turn off the video. It's going to take too much dexterity right now, and this bridge is not. When they built this new bridge, why didn't they use some seichel? This new bridge is ridiculous. It's not really any better than the old bridge. Why didn't they just leave both bridges? That's what I really want to know. And then there would be so much more room. And does anybody have an idea? What are they even doing with this old bridge? What are they doing over there? Are they fixing it so they can use it? Are they I don't know. Anybody know? Alright, thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. This is just rambling nonsense. I don't know if people are entertained by this. It seems like all of my videos about this movie got a fair amount of views. When I get to work, I'll probably add some video tags, to lead one to the other. I'm gonna put this as like 3.1 instead of part 4. This way, like, if someone wants to skip over this, they can. Right? Well, God bless. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I think we'll let it now. All right, thank you.